Welcome to News Stripped Down, where I dig through the news and weed out all the nonsense so you guys don't have to. 30 minutes or less. Why? Because anything longer than that's just BS, anyways. So it's like 2 degrees, feels like minus 2 degrees Celsius, like 35 degrees Fahrenheit to you guys down in the States. That's 2 plus 2. Oh, goodness. Yeah, it's not very nice. It snowed a little bit yesterday. Could not believe it. It snowed a little bit more around around noon. It started snowing again. Yeah, I wonder when this is gonna end. Snowflakes were so weird. Well, not weird for this time of year, but I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna leave with things that happen, or start with things that happened today in history. Then I'm gonna go into the news, just so it gets people going in here. I guess I just feel bad talking about like the good stuff at the beginning. Well, that's what's important to me. So, yeah, today in May 5th, yeah, it's Tuesday, May 5th, 1920, or sorry, 1260, Kublai Khan, grandson of Genghis Khan, became the ruler of the Mongol Empire. And then in May 5th, 1893, the Panic of 1893 causes the New York Stock Exchange to crash. And yeah, I was going to look into that a little bit more. I looked into other things, but I'm going to highlight that. Hey, James, I'm going to highlight that. I want to look into that a little bit more. By the sounds of it, it was just mass panic. Like people just went crazy there for a bit, and then it totally devastated the stock market. But you have to realize, I believe there was a recession happening at that time too. So to say it was panic that caused the stock market to crash, I think it was probably a little bit more digging into the deep. But I'm going to look into that. Yeah, the Panic of 1893. And then on May 5th, today, in 1955, West Germany is granted full sovereignty by its three occupying powers. So, really, what happened there is, it took that long. It took 10 years to just rebuild the infrastructure from all that war. And for these three countries to be like, yeah, you know what? I think West Germany, what was it? It wasn't West Germany. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was West Germany. They were like, yeah, you're good enough on your own now. Yeah, you're definitely good on your own. And then in May 5th, 1965, the US first large scale of all of its units arrive in South Vietnam. The beginning of the Vietnam War. Actually, really started before that, but like the first large scale amount of troops and equipment started today, in 1965. And this is pretty interesting. I had to look this up. Today in 1980, the siege of the Iranian embassy was brought to an end by British SAS members and police. The siege that lasted 6 days took 26 people hostage. And yeah, so some guys broke into the Iranian embassy in London. And the reason that they did this is because they were trying to have friends of theirs who have been captured by Iranian officials to be released. And yeah, sadly, two of the hostages, 26 hostages, did not survive. Like, that's like, think about that now. Think about that now. And like, does that not make sense? Like, yeah, they were trying to make a point of what's happening over there. And yeah, like, this is in 1980. Like, I wasn't born yet. Pretty close though, pretty close. And then today in 1981, IRA and British MP Bobby Sands dies in prison after 66 days in a hunger strike. And yeah, 9 more of them died 3 months into this too. How's it going there, Bullet X? So yeah, a lot of the people who were doing the hunger strike with him, they kept doing the hunger strike, and what they were fighting for is to be considered as political prisoners, not to be, considered, your average prisoners. Like, these guys didn't create any crimes or anything that they're involved in. It just, the government didn't see eye to eye with them, so they just imprisoned them. And that's why they did this hunger strike. And then famous birthdays today. Oh, sorry, I have one more. Today in 19, or sorry, in 1891, May 5th, today, the Music Hall, it's now known as Carnegie Hall in New York City, had opened for the first time. So yeah, that's pretty interesting stuff. I'm definitely gonna have to look into that Panic of 1893 because by what like my understanding of it was is like there was just a mass panic and they didn't know what to do about it, like hysteria. But I'd really like to dig into that deeper and see what really caused that panic and what really caused the stock market to crash like that. Let's get into some birthdays. Today in 1811, John William Draper. He was one of the first people to actually take. He was like well known for his photography back in the day. From 1811 to 1882, he passed away at the age of 70. But in 1840, he was one of the very first person to actually take a detailed picture of the moon. I know there's a lot of moon controversy and stuff coming up here. Israel and India. I don't know, like yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on right now with India. I think India is making a lot of big trade deals that nobody's paying attention to right now. And I'd be really worried about what India is doing with African countries right now because they just made some major agreements between 53 of some of the African countries over precious materials and stuff like that. So uh, when it comes to precious materials, we could be falling behind on things like that if India gets on top of this. And then India could have control of those precious materials then. So then Africa could still be a poor country because everyone just takes advantage of Africa. It could be such a more wealthy country, but with what India's doing over there, like I don't know, they're doing some weird shady stuff too. And then Karl Marx, he was born today in 1818. He passed away in 1883 at the age of 64. Karl Marx, famous philosopher, a sociologist, economics. He was just kind of a pioneer of thinking. A lot of like philosophers, a lot of people studying philosophy would be looking into this guy because he was really a pioneer when it came to like how society we know has changed if it wasn't for Karl Marx. And then today in 1865, Nellie Bay was born. She passed away in 1922 at the age of 56. Nellie Bay, she was like a pioneer when it came to females in journalism, and she was also a famous writer. But what she's really well known for is for her writing. I believe it was a newspaper article called "What Are Girls Good For," which spread throughout the United States and really got her name out there as a woman writer. Finally they started. Women would never buy the newspaper back then. It wasn't women's news too, and this kind of changed. Started changing into women's rights. If it wasn't for her putting out an article like that, women today wouldn't be reading the newspaper. Like, it's amazing. Hey, tits. Jesus is Christ and is Lord. Yeah. Okay. And then today's birthday, Arthur Leonard Shawclaw. Oh, sorry. Arthur Leonard Chakra. He was born today in 1921, passed away in 1999 at the age of 77. He is a pioneer in laser technology back in his heyday. We wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't for him when it comes to laser technology. Made really started looking into stuff like that we never had before. And then today in 1943, Michael Parlin, comedian and actor, famously known for his work in the series of Monty Python. He passed away, he is still alive today. He's 83. And then today in 1981, Craig Darrad, I don't know, he's some singer. I have no idea. He's 45 years old today. Adele, she was born today in 1988. She's 38 years old today. I shouldn't have to explain Adele. There's probably enough memes and stuff out there about her. Just look up Barbara Walters and Adele. There's some controversy right there. And then today in 1983, Henry Carvel, he's 43 today, years old today. He's an actor. I guess he was in one of the new Batman Marvel movies or something. I don't know. I don't watch any of the new Marvel movies. I think they're just drivel. It's not what movies used to be back in the day. There's like maybe one movie a year I'll watch. And then Chris Brown was born today in 1989. He is 37 years old today. Tell you the truth, I thought Chris Brown, boxer Chris Brown. Actually, the only time he ever boxed was with Rihanna. So, oh, and then since I'm on this page, let's get into this stuff here. Russia and Ukraine have declared a ceasefire, you guys. Yeah, they declared a ceasefire for 2 days. For 2 days. Okay, there's an upcoming special day coming here, May 8th. If you guys don't remember what May 8th is, it's quite significant. May 8th is when Russia declared the end of the war. And this is the conclusion of what we know as the European War. So May 8th, 1945. So Russia's going to be celebrating, doing their parades and shit. And so Ukraine has made an agreement because Moscow's all worried that who you're going to hit us while we have all our people and we're celebrating this day. And I'm pretty sure Trump in America definitely had some say in this 2-day ceasefire because, this is something that does need to be celebrated. And this kind of gets overlooked in the rest of the world. Well, especially in the West, like here in the Americas, because this isn't when the war was considered to end. The war didn't actually end for the Americans until September 2nd. And then that was 6 days after they had dropped the second nuclear bomb on Japan, when then finally the great emperor, actually he had announced on the 26th of August that, he was telling his people, I have accepted defeat, but the real ending of the war wasn't declared until September 2nd, 1945. And over some Manitoba news here for anyone here in Canada. So an MLA, Wayne Eosku, sorry, was just kicked out of Manitoba Parliament today, just a couple hours ago. And this is because during a private meeting, he was sitting down with Premier Wab Kinew. And yes, his name's Wab Kinew. I'm not mispronouncing that. Yeah, they elected a person named Wab. Wow, his parents couldn't even get it right by just putting an R in front of there instead of W. They must have both had speech impediments. So Wayne Eosku gets kicked out of Parliament, Manitoba Parliament, because he's in a private meeting and Wab Kinew just happens to be there, and Yesku's like, are you drunk? And then now the House Speaker is like, I can't have language like this in the building. And now Wab Kinew is saying, it's like, that's racist to call me a drunk. Well, I don't know. I'm a white guy. I've been called a drunk many a time. So to say that's racist, I think that's a bunch of BS. So Wab, I don't know. Stop playing the race card. Like, there's no need for that in politics right now. You have what you have right now, and just work on what you have. Don't worry about what other people are saying about you. Like, just because somebody says something bad about you, welcome to politics. And then you sit there and you do stuff on YouTube. You know what? What do you do about the haters on there? There's a lot of people that aren't going to like you, so just deal with them. It's part of politics. But don't play out the race card, man. For somebody calling you a drunk, that's not a race card to pull. Wab Kinew. Oh, here, let's save that last one there. Nope, this is all tied in together, you guys. So BlackRock, if you don't know about BlackRock, one of the biggest major investment firms across the world. They control pretty much everything, even your school photos. So BlackRock has just chosen a new head of operations of Canada. Okay, her name is Catherine Tweedy. Yes, Tweedy, like Tweety Bird. Okay, and so yes, Colleen Davis, she's still the chief operating officer of everything. Okay, so now we have Catherine Tweedy coming in here. So me just digging into Catherine Tweedy here, yeah, okay, she seems to have pretty good background here. Like the history that I can find about her. She was in investment banking with BMO, that's Nesbitt Burns, okay? So then over to private equity, and then she worked in a family office there for a bit, probably laundering money and stuff like that. I have no objections to that. Yes, family businesses are a perfect way to launder money and be able to support your family like underneath you too, and giving them reliable jobs. So when it comes to money laundering, when it's stuff like that, I have no objections as long as she uses it properly towards, paying people properly and giving people jobs that, they could possibly use at that time. So after at that family office, then she played a senior role at the World Economic Forum that was focused mostly on Africa. Okay, remember we're talking about this chick just got hired for BlackRock. Okay, as a Canadian up there in the Canadian part of Canadian operations. So yeah, okay, that's just one thing. And then and then she was head of operations of Canada, and then she was an executive director at 91 Investments. That is a huge investment firm throughout Canada here. 91. Okay, I'm not saying a number. It's 91 is the firm itself. And yeah, just working there. Hold on a second. She had a mix of different things here. One investment. Yeah, and then yeah, her having all these roles that right now it kind of gives her like a balance between, being in the private sector and then in the private sector, and then oh man, I just totally screwed up. Yeah, she's in the private sector a little bit and in the why did I write private sector twice? That's why I'm getting all screwed up. Okay, and then anyways, speaking of private, let's just get into this. Colleen Davis. I've looked into this chick, and she's the chief, like major liaison. Let's just call her a liaison between negotiations in Canada here. Okay, for BlackRock. I looked up this Colleen Davis. Do you think I could find anything about her? This chick is a ghost. Like, you'd think there'd be something about her. The only thing I could find about this Colleen chick is a little photo of her with a thing at the bottom, little headline at the bottom. And what does it say? I'm Canadian, I'm the chief Canadian advisor, for Canada. That's it. I couldn't find her job aspect, like, or abstract or anything. I couldn't find her past history, where she was before BlackRock, like if she worked at McDonald's. She doesn't have a Facebook page. At least this Catherine Tweedy has a Facebook page, and I can find out where she went to school. She went to school in BC in Victoria, where she got her like what was it? Her basic schooling. What do you call that? Hold on a second. She gets her bachelor's degree in economics, and then she moves over to Harvard University and gets her master's. Like, why can I find stuff like about her? And she even has an Instagram page. But like, if anybody can find anything on Colleen Davis from BlackRock, please put it in the comments after. This video is going to be for you guys to watch after. I prefer most of the comments after. I don't like reading the comments here because it's news stripped down 30 minutes or less. Why? Because anything longer is just BS. And I'm here Monday to Friday, 4 to 4:30 p.m. Central Time. So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow for Wednesday show. And don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe too. So yeah, definitely this Colleen chick, Colleen Davis. If you guys can find anything on her, she is an absolute ghost, which, like, you think you have somebody working for a firm like this, And then with somebody like Catherine Tweedy, like, yeah, I have no problem sharing my information. Anything I can find about her has either been pulled or like somebody's hiding information about this chick because you can't find anything. And then speaking of finances, well, people in finances. Speaking of people in finances, let's talk about Mark Carney here and his rebuttal about the 300,000 supposed votes that Alberta got to separate. So, okay, these are direct quote. I'm going to tell you when the direct quotes start of what he said. And I've been saying this from the get-go, and I'll explain this, okay? So let's do this direct quote so I don't get it wrong because he says some funny words here. Okay, first of all, there's a judicial challenges and separatelity charges, but uh, but readily or readily by or riddled. Sorry, here we go. Let's start this all again. Judicial challenges and separational challenges, but oh my goodness, my writing is so bad sometimes. Yeah, it's repeated by like legal challenges, both of those things. And then most of it, what it's going to come down to is the Aboriginal people, the Indigenous people. So it doesn't matter if like Alberta even tries to separate. Do you want the legal burden that, you know, the rest of the country is chipping in towards that are paying for legal costs that you're dealing with the Indigenous people? And you think you're just going to make all that stuff disappear? No, it's never going to happen. And you know why I know it's not going to happen? Because of Carney's reaction, and not just Carney's reaction. Look at all the other MPs across every other province across Canada, except for except for Alberta. Let's leave Alberta out of this. We're just going to separate it for right now. If I was an MP in Saskatchewan or BC, would I not be speaking up about this? Would I not be blowing the horn saying we need to speak up? We need to stop this? No. You know why nobody's doing this? Because they know it can't happen. First of all, if they get through the legal process, yes, there's a due legal process to get this to go through. Okay, even if they get through that, now you have the legal process of dealing with the Aboriginal people and dealing with land rights. Because what you're saying is you want to separate from here. Well, it's not your land. And this is what the rest of the country has been fighting with the Aboriginal people for years, is over land rights. So like this is why nobody's freaking out in other provinces. Now think about that. You think like even Doug Ford would say something. You think Quebec would say something, be like, why is Quebec not wanting to separate? They did before. Bueller, anyone? Why is Quebec not want to do this? And you think Quebec would speak up about this for sure? Be like, even just a thought, hey, you know, maybe we should try that separation thing again. Even the people realized it didn't work. And for these 300,000 people that voted, I'm sorry, we should just take them all out back. Let's all take them to the farm. Let's all just take them to the farm. You know, I'll just say that. I don't want to say anything like bad about people, but yeah, let's just take them out to the farm where they belong. So yeah, that's it for the news today. News stripped down, 30 minutes or less, no BS. I'm reading between the lines from now on. So you guys don't get this like, you know, sound bites of what they really want you to hear. This is like between the lines. And today I did a lot of digging, especially into this Catherine Tweedy. I was like, how can I find all this stuff about this? Yeah, Catherine Tweedy, and then this Colleen Davis. I can't find a single thing about this crazy bitch. Quebec is different from Alberta in that Canada had things it could offer Quebec, and Quebec has no such thing to offer Albertans. See, that's where you're wrong. See, that's where you're wrong. That's where you're wrong. See, deals are starting to get made out right now, and I'm surprised Carney, when he did that soundbite where somebody asked him, what do you think about the 300,000 votes? And he was kind of like, the look on his face is like, go ahead. Go ahead. But once I get this country, this is what I see running through his head. He's like, okay, once I get this country actually up and going with the deals I'm making, I'm going to make Alberta a fuck ton of money. But you don't want to wait. You don't want to wait. You want to just sit there and spend more provincial money to see if you can even separate in the first place. And it's never going to happen. Look at the rest of the provinces. Look at the rest of the premiers. Look at all the people who are governing besides Alberta. That's why they're not freaking out, because they know how it is. It's these simple laws. And you want to sit there like Alberta would never separate. You'd be locked in courts for the next 30 fucking years just dealing with court fees. And you want to do that? You say you want to make money off of oil. Well, you're going to make money off of oil, but it's going to be spent in tax dollars. And, well, not tax dollars that go towards your legal fees. Now, think about that. Think about that. And you think, oh, but the United States is going to give us money to like help us go through this. It's a loan. It's a fucking loan. You have to pay that back. It's easy to take money for, well, it's easy to take money for free, but it's not free. And then why are there investors showing or putting money into this in the United States? Like, what they really want from you is to shove that little plastic straw up your ass and suck the last little bit of oil out of there and not give you anything. What they'll do is they'll tariff you for all of that nonsense. Like, you think you're getting a great deal. It's a Trojan horse. It's an absolute Trojan horse. You guys don't get it. And it's like you Albertans. You think that raising the speed limit is such a great thing? Okay, let's go for 110 kilometers an hour to 120. Simple math. What's 10% of 100? 10%. Okay, now let's do the simple math to gasoline. Okay, you burn 100% of gas. You're doing 100 kilometers an hour. You're burning 100%. You do 110 kilometers an hour. Now you're burning an extra 10%. And they say, oh, yeah, but now we'll have less speeding tickets. It's Alberta. They're going to speed no matter what. You're going to have the same amount of speed tickets, but now you're going to have more expensive speeding tickets. It's like when you guys wanted to legalize marijuana. You didn't realize that all the extra laws like that were going to come in and act. Now it is zero tolerance alcohol. You can't even blow a 0.8. And you know what how that happened? It was the legalization of marijuana. It's like, well, we better bump up these rules if we're going to legalize marijuana, because now we're going to make the MAD pipeline. You know what I'm talking about? Mothers Against Drunk Driving. You have no idea how much money they put into the federal government to lobby them to get what they want. And they don't even have to lobby anymore. They can just say what they want and get what they want. They have that much power. And an organization like that, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, that, you want to talk about money laundering? Right there. Let's dig into that. But that's for another time. 30 minutes or less. I'm out of here. Yeah, they're going to make millions in taxes. And then not only that, the Albertan people, they're like, yeah, this is great. And look at your fuel costs right now. You're going to be burning 20% more fuel. You guys don't get it. You guys don't get it. Like, you Albertans, you guys enjoy your Trojan horse. I'm not going to be here to save your ass once everything goes down. But I'll be sitting here, sitting on my ass, telling you, I fucking told you so. I told us so. Canada's cooked. Every country is cooked, man. Every country is cooked. And even like each government, they're yelling at all of their leaders right now. Well, yeah, look at what's happening in the world. Look at what Trump's doing. And everyone's criticizing our leaders right now. You know what? Some of our leaders are doing a pretty fucking bang up job right now. And you need to stop criticizing them. I'm talking about worldwide. I watch all these countries criticizing their leaders about what's happening in the world. They don't have a say in this. You got to go ask Mr., Uncle Trump there. You got to go pat him on the back and wipe his ass and make sure you can get a better deal at the end of the day. But that's it. 30 minutes or less. I'm out of here. And don't forget to hit the like button. I'll be back tomorrow for Wednesday's show, 30 minutes or less. Why? Because anything longer than that's just BS. I'm out of here. Don't forget to hit the like button.